Hey, I'm here every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m., entertaining, informing, and inspiring through global community narratives. Today in the studio, I have a member of the Black Society of Mental Health Professionals, and he is going to be sharing an education and training portion about domestic violence. We're going to start off our Friday like we always do with some Friday's Groove right here at 95.7 FM, WELT. The next voice you hear will be Hakim Muhammad, and he is going to talk about, educate us on domestic violence.
Hello, again, my name is Hakim Muhammad. I'm a member of the Society of Black Mental Health Professionals, and today my topic will be domestic violence. What I would like to discuss is four parts in relationship to domestic violence. The first part will be what is domestic violence, as well. The second part will be what is not domestic violence, and also we'll talk about the different types of domestic violence, of that of abuse. And last but not least, I'm going to discuss what we refer to as the cycle of violence in our training, dealing with victims in the community of domestic violence. So, starting with what is domestic violence, first of all, it doesn't make sense, and as well it spills into different aspects of society. So, regardless of your race, black, white, Native American, Latino, as well as rich or poor, it affects all different facets of society. As well as the definitive definition of domestic violence, it is the establishment of control and fear in an intimate relationship through the use of violence and forms of abuse, as well as the definitive pattern of behaviors in a relationship. So usually when I talk to an individual that dealing with domestic violence or just came out of a domestic violent relationship, I always tell them that we are all at one point in time not proud of things we might have done in a relationship, but that does not qualify us as an abuser. So again, it's dealing with the establishment of control as well as the fear in an intimate relationship, and that can deal with girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. It can be between family members, a mother, a daughter, a father, a son, an aunt, or niece. So it runs the whole gamut in relationship to that intimate relationship. And again, it's a definitive pattern of behaviors. So as I discuss the different types of abuse, we're going to look at the various patterns that domestic violence comes in forms in. So that's my first part. So the second part, what is not domestic violence, is not caused by genetics, mental illness, anger, stress, alcohol or drugs, or the behavior of the victim. Because a lot of times in relationship to the victim, the abuser will always say, well, you push my button. You the cause, the reason I act this way. But again, nobody ever deserved to be abused, any type of form of abuse in a relationship. As well as it is not a crime of passion, is not culturally or religiously acceptable, as well as it's not a private family matter. Because a lot of times, particularly when in African American community as well as other communities, is usually the old phrase, whatever happens in the home stays in the home. So we definitely want to dispel that myth as well. So that was the first two parts. So the second part, the third part I should say, is the different types of abuse. So you're looking at physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, financial and legal, as well as religious. So this part of portion of the training of domestic violence dealing with types of abuse, I want to focus on the financial and legal, because I think a lot of times people really don't understand or know that aspect of what constitutes as domestic violence. So it could be from prevent you from getting or keeping a job, refusal to have your name on any accounts, files for temporary custody, as well as withholding documentation, refusing to work, withhold money, as well as call police if you fight back. So again, going back to the first part, where I said what is domestic violence, these are various patterns that a person need to look at. And a lot of times when I talk and counsel somebody in relationship to domestic violence, they notice that pattern when I point this particular part out to them, like the different types of abuse. Because we're looking at the physical as well as sexual or verbal. That's pretty common that a lot of people understand. But like I said, today I just want to focus on the different types of abuse as relates to financial as well as legal. So my fourth and my last part I would like to cover this evening is dealing with the cycle of violence. Now this is very important because it's actually a cycle. As we know, a cycle consists of 360 degrees. So it starts at one point, it goes right back to the same point. So what is the cycle of violence? It deals with three phases. The first phase is the tension building phase, the explosive phase, and the calm phase. So let's deal with the tension building phase. So usually that means the abuser may begin to blame, threaten, or belittle the victim, monitor and control the victim, as well as the jealousy might escalate, as well as accuse the victim of sleeping around or not doing chores. And in relationship to the victim, they try to change, calm down the abuser, sense increased tension and anger in the abuser, as well walk on eggshells. So that's the tension building phase of the cycle of violence. Now the second phase of the cycle of violence deals with the explosive phase. Now this is when everything breaks loose, in which sometimes there's violence, things are thrown, there are increased verbal as well as emotional abuse, even sometimes even rape that might occur. And with the victim, they receive injuries, they feel responsible, as well as they feel a sense of shame, and they do whatever they need to do at that moment to prevent further injury, as well as have fear. And then the last part of this phase is the calm phase, and sometimes we refer to this as the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase is, of course, the abuser may deny or they may minimize the victim of the violence they had inflicted upon the victim. Also, they blame the violence on the victim, as well. They ask for forgiveness a lot of times, or they might say, "Well, I'm sorry. I promise I will never have that happen again." And then with the victim feels relieved, as well as a sense of hope that, well, this time it might be different. He did or she did apologize to me. So that was the four parts of what I want to bring to the table with domestic violence. And if you are a person or you know somebody dealing with this, call the Society of Black Mental Health professionals so we can give you some information so we can connect you to various organizations in the community. And the phone number is 260-409-5998, as well as go to our website, which is www.theblackmentalhealthprofessionals.com. Thank you.